Security preparations in Dublin for Mrs Thatcher. She's expected there soon, probably tomorrow, for summit talks with the Irish Prime Minister, Mr Khalkhali. Mrs Thatcher's team might include the Foreign Secretary, Lord Carrington, and the Northern Ireland Secretary, Humphrey Atkins, making it the most high-powered British delegation to visit the Republic for Anglo-Irish talks. One of the talking points will be the hunger strike by convicted terrorists at the Maze prison near Belfast. From Dublin, a report by our political editor, John Simpson.
Dublin Castle, where it's expected the meeting will take place, was closed to the public without warning today. And the police presence showed the intense security surrounding the first discussions a British Prime Minister will have held here on the subject of Northern Ireland for 7 years. When the two leaders meet, the subject of the hunger strike won't by any means dominate their conversation, though Mr Khalkhali will certainly raise it, and Mrs Thatcher can be expected to repeat her firm refusal to accept that people who've been jailed for bombing and murder should be accorded the status of political prisoner.
All the same, the view here is that if the hunger strike were called off, the British would then feel able to move to a more liberal regime in the H-blocks, though again without conceding the issue of political status. The value of this meeting as far as the Irish are concerned is that it keeps London and Dublin talking together about their common problem in Northern Ireland. So it's the fact of the meeting rather than anything which will come out of it which matters.
In Northern Ireland, there have been more demonstrations in support of the hunger strikers. The biggest was at Cookstown in County Tyrone, and Christopher Morris was there.
The number of marchers almost exceeded Cookstown's entire population of 6,000. It was, to some extent, a family occasion, a peaceful protest, and unlike Northern Ireland's violent demonstrations of the past. However, armed police guarded the route after loyalists had asked for the march to be banned. As it was, there were no incidents. There's no doubt that among Republicans, the hunger strike issue is now gaining massive support. This at a time when, after 42 days, the physical condition of the hunger strikers themselves in the Maze Prison Hospital has deteriorated and is now nearing the crisis point. And as the situation becomes more tense, the demonstrations larger by the day, so Northern Ireland's politicians now look anxiously towards Dublin and the meeting between Mrs Thatcher and Mr Khalkhali in the hope that some initiatives emerge to bring the hunger strikes swiftly to an end.
There's also been a march in London. There, several thousand people showed their support for the hunger strikers and their demand for political status. Among the demonstrators was the mother of one of 3 women prisoners who started a hunger strike at Armagh prison a week ago.
My daughter
She told the rally later that her daughter, now 21, was ready to die if her demand for political status wasn't met. The American government warned tonight that the Soviet Union now appeared to have completed preparations for possible intervention in Poland. The brief written statement given to reporters at a special White House briefing repeated a warning that relations between Russia and the West would be very seriously damaged over a long period by a Soviet move into Poland. Today's statement was the first American reaction since the Warsaw Pact summit in Moscow last week, when it appeared the Polish government were given a breathing space to solve the country's internal problems. Iran's most notorious judge, Ayatollah Khalkhali, has resigned as head of the country's anti-drugs squad. There have been allegations that the force resorted to torture and bribery, allegations the Ayatollah firmly denies. Since the revolution, he's sentenced hundreds of people to execution after the briefest of trials. Now, Ayatollah Khalkhali will concentrate on his career in Parliament, where he's equally controversial. MPs shouted him down recently when he suggested that the American hostages should be freed only in exchange for American weapons and spare parts. Voters in Portugal have been electing a new president. The socialist leader Mário Soares was among the many who wore mourning after the death of the Prime Minister in an air crash 4 days ago. There are 6 candidates, but the outcome is expected to rest between the incumbent president, General Ramalho Eanes, and the right-wing candidate, General Soares Carneiro. The result is expected late tonight. And finally, for Emma, aged 15, a very special honor. Emma is a Labrador, and for 12 years she guided and guarded her blind owner, Mrs Sheila Hockin. Now, though, the roles have been reversed, as Christopher Powell explains.
Emma, on the right, is now blind herself and needs a guide dog of her own. Crippled by cataracts, the same disorder that robbed Sheila Hockin of her sight. But now, after an operation, Sheila can see. So it's with her eyes and help from another Labrador, Bracken, that Emma is led for her daily walks around the streets of Nottingham. Sheila describes Emma as a dignified old lady who needs a lot of rest and attention. So at the awards, it was Bracken who received the Pro Dogs National Charity Devotion to Duty Medal on Emma's behalf. After all, Emma's already starred in Cruft's Personality Parade, appeared on TV, and still gets her own fan mail. So why not settle for the quiet life and let a younger guide dog have his share of the limelight?
And that's the news on 2 tonight. Good night.